Hi, you guys. It's Mrs. Klein.
And Mr. Creighton.
We are here with your podcast for Chapter 3, Lesson 1, Life on the Arabian Peninsula. Okay, before we get into this, I just want to let you know, in this lesson, we're going to be learning about how the Arabian Peninsula influenced the way of life of the Arab people who lived there. Okay, as always, there are key terms and words that you're going to be responsible for. You got that podcast quiz tomorrow. You can look right on the screen. The words that you're responsible for this go around are nomad, oasis, clan, Allah, monotheism, and pilgrimage.
We also have a new big idea for this unit. The big idea is belief systems influence people, cultures, and governments. So we want you to be thinking about this big idea as we go through this unit over the next couple of weeks. We also have some new essential questions. The first essential question, how important is religion in our lives?
The next essential question is, how does religion and cultural diffusion shape society?
The third essential question, how do belief systems unify and create a new identity for people?
Next, what are different ways that belief systems grow and spread?
Our final essential question, how does the interaction between people and belief systems solidify and change beliefs? The first part we'll be looking at, a desert culture, can be found on pages 85 and 86. The question we want you to be thinking about as we're going through this, how did the geography of the Arabian Peninsula encourage a nomadic way of life? The deserts of the Arabian Peninsula cover hundreds of thousands of square miles. One of the largest of these deserts is called the Rub al-Khali. Rub al-Khali is an Arabic word. It means the empty quarter.
I remember seeing a pretty cool commercial not too long ago. I think it was a car ad that took place in the empty quarter. Okay, so let's get back to our content here. The Arabian Peninsula is a region of Southwest Asia. It lies between the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf. It is about 1/4 the size of the United States. It's a pretty big desert area. The region is very dry. Only a small amount of land receives enough water to support farming.
Arab herders called Bedouins have lived on this land for centuries. Bedouins are nomads. They move from place to place to find water and grazing land for their herds. This movement happens within a fixed area. The path that Bedouins follow is affected by the type of landscape they must cross, the amount of rainfall, and the location of the oasis, a desert area that contains water.
Bedouins interacted with people who lived at oases. And oases, you guys, is just the plural form of the word oasis. These people did not move from place to place. Instead, they remained settled at their oasis. These settled people gave Bedouins food and clothes, and in return, the Bedouins protected them from other Bedouins.
Bedouins organized themselves into groups called clans. Clans provided security in the harsh desert. Bedouins were proud of their fighting skills. The fighting skills of the Bedouins also helped them serve the Islamic Empire. They became the core of the army that helped form this empire. The question you should be able to answer in your head right now, how did the people of Arabia adapt to its landforms and climate?
Another way to think about that too, you guys, and be thinking about this is, why does the Arabian Peninsula have small amounts of farming? Okay, the next section you're going to find on pages 87 and 88 in your history book. It's called The Crossroads of Three Continents. Question for consideration for this section is, what made the Arabian Peninsula important for trade? The Arabian Peninsula is in a good location for trade. It is a crossroads of three continents, Asia, Africa, and Europe. Also, bodies of water surround it.
Many Arabs have moved to market towns or oases by the early 600s. Market towns grew into cities because of trade. Larger cities became centers for local, regional, and long-distance trade. These cities were located near the western coast of Arabia.
Other areas, such as larger oases, prospered because they supported farming. Oases were also important for trade. They became stops along trade routes. Mecca and Medina were such oasis cities.
Sea and land routes connected Arabia to major trade centers. Products and inventions from three continents moved along these routes. Camel caravans transported these goods. Merchants traded animals, textiles, paper, steel, and crops.
Trade was also important in cultural exchange. Merchants carried information as well as products with them. For example, trade helped to spread Judaism and Christianity in this area. So you guys, again, be thinking, why is the Arabian Peninsula in a good location for trade? What's so special about its location?
That also ties in with why did so many trade routes develop on the Arabian Peninsula. Our last part is the holy city of Mecca. This can be found in your textbook on pages 88 and 89. The question you should be thinking about, why was Mecca important as a religious center? Mecca wasn't important as a trading center, but it was important as a religious center as well. Caravans stopped in Mecca during certain holy months. They brought people who came to worship at a religious shrine called the Kaaba.
Arabs connected the Kaaba with a biblical figure named Abraham. Abraham is important in Jewish and Christian religions as well. Arabs believe that Abraham and his son Ishmael built the Kaaba. They built it, Arabs believed, as a reminder of their faith in one God. This one God was called Allah in Arabic. The belief in a single God is called monotheism.
Other Arabs believed in many gods. Many of these Arabs lived in the desert. Over the years, they began to worship at the Kaaba. Each year, people flocked to Mecca from all over the peninsula to worship at the Kaaba. This journey to a sacred place is called a pilgrimage.
Many Jews and Christians lived in Arab lands. Some Arabs blended Christian and Jewish beliefs with their own traditions. It was into this environment of religious diversity that Muhammad was born. He was born in Mecca in AD 570. Muhammad became the prophet of the Islamic religion. Okay, last question for your consideration for that little section is, what religious traditions were practiced on the Arabian Peninsula before 570 AD?
And also think about what factors made Mecca a city of religious activity. Just a reminder, for your podcast quiz tomorrow, you need to know nomad, oasis, clan, Allah, monotheism, and pilgrimage.
Okay, you guys, we're out of here. See ya.
I'm over it.
Good luck on that podcast quiz.
You're gonna need it.